Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video, I'm going to be using the new Uniquely Creative Gorgeous Girl stamp and die set to make this cool shaker card. So let's go ahead and get to it. So today's video is going to be a shaker card using the new Gorgeous Girl Stamp and Colour mini kit from Uniquely Creative. I've got the kit and I'm going to have a go at making something here. I think I know how to do this. I'm a little bit iffy with the shaker card. I'm a little worried, but I'm going to give this a shot. So I'm going to start off with one of these square cards. This is from Uniquely Creative as well. It's a little pack of your blank square cards, 13 by 5 by 13 by 5. And I'm going to use this as the base of my card. And what I'm going to do there is grab one of the bits of paper that comes with the kit, and I want to use this pink. I think it's really pretty, and it's also got a little bit of green, so I'm going to bring in a bit of green here to kind of offset the pink. I'm a little unsure. I don't know if this is going to quite give me the look I want, but I'm happy to give it a try to begin with. So we'll start off with the base, and I'm just going to grab one of my blending brushes. This is my green one, and I'm just going to put just a little bit of Lucky Clover just around the outside of this. Now I've just noticed there's a little bit of a notch that I just want to get rid of. Oops. So I'm just having a look at the card and making sure I'm happy with it. This next bit is completely up to you. You can mask this off like I'm going to, or you can just sort of keep it folded. But I just want to make sure that no ink gets on the back side or the inside of my card. So I'm just going to mask off the edge here, just so that there's no transfer of the ink to the back of the card. Okay, that'll just hold it in place. And because of what I want to do with the card, like this bit of paper in the middle, I don't need to blend the whole back of the whole card here. I just need to do just the edges. So I'm just going to go around the edge just to sort of give a little bit of extra dimension behind it. You could obviously leave this white, but I just want a bit of colour. I think the pink and the green will be really good contrasts for each other. I think it'll look really nice. So I'll just finish doing this edge, and then just to add a little bit of extra detail, I think what I'll do is come in with one of the little stamps. There's a couple of little floral stamps in here just to kind of add to the edge a little bit. Just looking at that and going, yeah, am I happy with how smooth that is, or does it need a bit more? Yes, I think I'm happy with that. I'm just going to add just a little spritz of water. I just want just a little bit of reaction, not a lot. I don't need it to be over the top, but just a little bit, just to give, again, a little bit of contrast. So I'm just going to leave that for a second and then pick it up. It just brings it down just a little bit. It's not quite as, what's the word I'm looking for? Bold as it was. Just brings it back a bit. Then I'm going to grab out my stitched nesting squares. These are from Uniquely Creative as well. And I just want to pick one that's going to give me this sort of bit in the middle. I'm always debating whether I want to go slightly bigger or slightly smaller. The other thing to keep in mind, obviously, is how big the stamped image is here. So yeah, we need to go the bigger one. I had a feeling we would. Go that one, because then the stamped image is going to sit in here. Okay, so grab the bit of paper. And just cut that in half, just so it's easier to go through the die cut machine. Just run that square through, and then we can start working out where our shaker well is going to go. Oh, I really like that. I didn't think I would. I was worried that the green and the pink would look funny. It may be half a shade too bright. You probably could go with maybe Evergreen Bough, or where's my little swatches? probably could have gone, if you wanted to, you could go back like something a little bit deeper, so maybe go to pine needles or maybe evergreen bough, but I think that green is just a nice pop, but it does need a little bit more. So I'm going to leave that mask on, and then grabbing the stamp set out, there's two little floral images in here, and I'm just going to stamp them around the outside. Should have got my stamp block out before I started. Anyway, so just using the same Lucky Clover ink, so I'm not changing the ink colour or anything because I like that tone on tone, and this is not supposed to be like a big difference or a focal point. It's just something to kind of have in the background, because remember, you're going to have most of this covered up, so I don't need to go too over the top, too crazy, too careful with this. I can do this a bit sort of haphazardly and it'll be fine. So I'm just going around once with this first image. I'm just moving them around a little bit, so each time they're sort of on a slightly different angle, and I can also sort of bring it down so you just get a little bit less. I can put the whole one on there if I want to, because like I said, it's going to hide behind. I'm going to finish doing this because I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that. I don't think that'll come off with my sand eraser, but before I sort of get all upset and throw this away, we'll work it out. So I'll do the other little flower first, so exactly the same way we just did, just putting it in between those bigger flowers. I'm really annoyed at myself because I know better. I know better. So I'm going to grab my sand eraser and we'll try that first. I don't think it's going to help. You could stick something on the back, like it's on the back of the card, it's not even on the inside of the card. It depends how crazy you want to go or how much you want to fix it. I think I'll just fix it and I'll just use another card. So I'll just cut that front bit off. I can use the back bit for another card later on. Oh, it annoys me when I make mistakes like that, but we all do it. It happens to the best of us. So I'm just cutting that front bit off, and we'll then mount it on the front of this card. Because it's the same size, it'll work fine. So while we've now got the card base away from the card, I'm going to leave them away from each other so that I don't get any ink on the other one. And we'll work on this one. So that's sort of where I want to put it, and then I want to put the shaker bit off to the side. Now that sort of seems a bit weird. You sort of think you'd want to center it. I want it off to the side because I want to be able to put like a little sentiment on the side here and have it sit down. So I'm going to grab my washi tape. This is the same tape I used before. I'm just lining that up on the front, and then I'm going to run this through, and then we're going to work on the well. There are lots of different ways to do shaker wells. You can either use foam tape right behind this and kind of have it that way. You can cut out 3 or 4 bits of this kind of like same cardstock and put the well in. I'm going to try for today, I'm going to try using a little bit of foam that already has the sticky on it. I feel like it's going to help me a little bit today. I have tried this off camera and the well I made with like sticking lots and lots of pieces of cardboard together just didn't work the way I wanted it to. So I'm going to try it this way instead. I'm just going to grab my scissors and just cut out the square to be just a little bit smaller than this one. I have gone close to the edge of my thing, so I haven't left a lot of room for foam tape or cardboard, which is why I want to do it with this sort of foam tape or foam sticky foam instead. because I feel like it'll give me a better chance to get this good. Alright, there's the bit of foam. Now, this is black. If I had white, I would use the white. I don't, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So then what I want to do is, I think I want to do, is I want to take off the sticky on the front. No, I don't. Having the thoughts. Okay, before we do the well, I'm just going to double back and we're going to do the acetate front. So this is where the actual image itself is going to come up. So I'm grabbing a piece of acetate. So I'm grabbing a piece of acetate and I'm grabbing my Stays On ink. So Stays On is a different kind of ink. I think it's a solvent ink. I think that's what it's called. And it basically will go on to anything. So what I found out I should have been using on all of my mini shaker pieces, like the shrink-a-dink ones that I've been doing. I should have been using Stays On the whole time, and I'm silly and didn't. I'm just cutting this a little bit smaller. So I've got my acetate bit, and then I'm going to grab my stamp, and this is just one of the most beautiful, big, bold stamps I've seen in a long time. It is so pretty. And the detail in it is great. This is where I love being able to experiment with different stamp sets, because my natural thought when I got this, and what I've done in a couple of my other cards that I've made for the design team for this one, is to colour it. Like, that's the obvious thing to do. But I wanted to sort of try something a little bit different for this card, and to see if I could create something a little bit different. First of all, can I say that Stays On ink smells like, for anyone, I think I've said this before, for anyone that's sort of my vintage, so sort of born mid-80s, if you ever had anyone in your family do Avon, this smells so much like the Avon strawberry lip balm, and I had some and I loved it. It was my favourite smell, and this smells just like it. So I've got the ink all over there. I'm just going to stamp that down. This looks so good on acetate, it really does. Really good little push. And then I'm just going to pick that up. I'm just going to hold the acetate down. Didn't quite stamp right, that's okay. That's why we use the Misty. So I can go straight back down on top. I'm going to grab my cloth and just do a wipe. If it doesn't work, I've got plenty of scraps of acetate, so it's not a big deal. It needs more ink, but I stamped that in the right spot. So I'm just going to put a bit more ink on the top there. Generally when using acetate, I just like to do one pass, but I don't mind doing two. That's why we have the Misty. I'm just going to move. No, it's going to get in the way. I'll leave it there. It took a couple of shots, but we got there. It's still not 100% perfect, but it definitely does the job. You get the idea. Now it's hard to see on the black, so I'm just going to hold it over the white for a second. How beautiful is that image? And you watch in a second when I put it back behind this, it just looks gorgeous. Now something I have just thought of. Oh no, it'll sit just behind there. I may need to come back and just put a little, actually. I'm just going to grab that same brush I had before, and I'm just going to try and just clean up that middle bit. I don't want to put more ink on, but I just want it to be a little bit of a smoother blend. Still want it to fade into the white, but I actually really like the way that looks in the background, and it's a nice sort of backing for the shaker bits that I'm going to put on there. Alright, I'm just going to, got stuff on the acetate. I'm just going to leave this off to the side for a couple of minutes just to dry really nicely. I don't want to smudge that in the slider, so I'm just going to give it a minute and I'll be right back. Alright, so now that that's sort of had a minute or so to dry, I think it'll be okay. So then I'm just going to trim off the top, and then we'll trim off any excess once we work out if there is going to be any. I find when it comes to sticking down acetate that using double-sided tape is a lot easier. just find it doesn't move so much and it just becomes life's just a bit easier. So I'm just going to use the double-sided tape all around the outside of this. I'm going to try wherever I can, because it is a bit of like an in and out kind of image. I'm going to try to sort of use little bits to get into the little nooks and crannies so that it's as close to stuck down as it possibly can be. So I'm just going to go around and do that. I have got other widths of double-sided tape if I need to use them. Hopefully I don't need to use them, but just in case. And I'll use that sort of maybe down this side, and I'll be right back. So I just grabbed a little bit of the really skinny double-sided tape just for this little spot here. The rest of it's not too bad. So I'm just grabbing my tweezers. This will make getting the backing off a lot easier. I'm just going to remove all of that backing tape. Obviously this is a lot more annoying than doing it all in one bit. And you don't need to do it this way. If you wanted to just go around in a big square, you could do that. It would not be a problem. But this is just so that I don't get any flappy bits sort of on the top, and that'll make more sense sort of in a minute when you see the card. Added just a little bit more of that little skinny tape on there as well. Alright, so once I've got that done, I'm just moving it onto the white so that you guys can see. I actually find it easier to work this way. I don't know why. So I'm just lining that up. Just going to trim off before I stick it down, just a little bit up this side and at the bottom, because I know I've got excess there. You could cut this out with the die as well. I just find you don't need to, and it gives you a bit more something to stick down. Okay. And there we've got our little window, and you'll see that'll sit on there. That looks so cool. Doesn't that look awesome? Yay! Alright, this is the trickiest part of all, because now we've got to get the window lined up on the same place in the well. Now I'm going to have to cut that just a little bit shorter. Right, so I'm going to run this through my die cut machine as well. I've never had an issue going through foam with my die cut machine. You watch, this will be the time that it does. But you just sometimes have to run it through a couple of times, maybe more than just the once. Got that part done. Now we can get the well stuck onto the front. So I feel like I'm doing this really poorly, so please excuse me. I don't know why, it just feels like I'm not quite explaining this right, or that I'm doing it in a really difficult way. If I'm doing it in a difficult way and you think you know a better way, please let me know, because I'm always happy to learn. And I maintain that shakers, as much as I love them, are something that I will struggle with, and I think I will continue to struggle with forever. I don't know why, I just don't do well with them as a general rule. But that doesn't mean I don't want to keep trying. So I'm just taking off that edging just to start with, because that way I can kind of stick half of this on and then pull the rest of it up. In fact, I'm going to loosen this side just so that it's easy to pick up in a second when I need to. And then we're going to line this up. So when it comes to this, it's getting it and making sure it's not going to be in the way of the image. So you really want to line this up well. That's why I'm going to stop talking to you guys in a sec. So I'm just following where that paper is. And I think I've done that okay. So now comes the fun part of spinning it over, and I can't see it. So we're good. I think we're good. I can see a little bit down this side, but not enough for me to be worried about. I think it'll be fine. So I'm just going to lean that up, pull off that remaining bit. That little bit of a shadow down the side actually kind of looks cool, so I'm happy with that. Next thing to do, add just a little bit of chalk onto the inside, chalk or powder, sorry, into the inside here. It shouldn't have a lot of stickiness attached to it, the foam, but it can sometimes have just a little, and I just want to try and get rid of as much of it as I can. So I'm just running that around the outside, sorry, the inside of the foam bit. I just want to have a look at it in the front again, pull it onto my background. If it's got any paintbrush hairs, which sometimes I get them stuck, I just pull that up. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm in two minds about something else. There is, I feel like if I put some of the pink back in on her face, that will look a little bit better, and it will kind of shake around it. But at the same time, I really like the way that green is sitting behind her, and so I'm actually really tempted to just leave it. I'm going to just leave it. I think it's cool. Alright, same thing now we're going to do in reverse for doing the backing page. I'm just making sure this is exactly where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to take off, actually, I'm going to put the sprinkles in first. I'm going to try something before I take off any of the glue. I've got two. I've got the craft sprinkles, and I've got, so hold on, what are these called? They're here somewhere. These ones are the rainbow sprinkles, and these ones are the pastel confetti. I just want to see what each of these kind of look like in here. I'm just shaking that out so it's got a bit of, it's spread out a bit. Obviously this isn't stuck, so you can kind of, I'm getting the idea of what this looks like. I need to put some more powder on there. I'm a bit iffy on the confetti. Let's just have a look at what this confetti looks like instead. Whoops, that's a bit much, but anyway. And I'm just doing the same thing, just putting the backing on it. Yeah, I like the confetti better. So I've got a little bit of static here, and I can tell because it's sticking. So I'll add a little bit more powder in a sec. This is why I love A, the glass mats, and B, these little trays. It's so easy to just clean up. So good. Alright, I'm going to use the little confetti bits. Need a little bit more powder on here to try and get rid of some of that static. So to stick this down, it's removing the backing. I'm going to leave this little bit at the top because that's how I'm going to fill this up. I always find it easier to fill it up once it's stuck, but that's me. And again, this could be me picking something hard where it doesn't need to be hard. If you're someone that's really comfortable just sticking this straight down and having the bits in between, go for it. But I'm just a bit cautious when it comes to shakers because I have ruined so many and I don't like ruining them. It makes me sad. Alright, now I've got some room here because I haven't taken that bit off at the top, and that's where I can get my shaker bits in. So I'm just doing that. The only thing that's just happening there is just some of the confetti bits are just sitting up like tall ways, and it's just causing it to sit up a little bit. So I'm just going to give it a really good little shake in a second. You could obviously stack this up even more. In fact, I'm really leaning towards just doing a little bit more in there. No, I'm not going to because the shake is good. The shake is good. So I'm just grabbing that last little bit of protective tape. Then stick that down. And that actually sits really flat now. And if I shake it around a little bit more, it is getting stuck a little bit on the sides, but nowhere near as badly as mine normally do. So I'm actually really happy there. That looks so cool. Okay, let's finish this off because I feel like I've been going forever. And I'm sure I have done this the wrong way, but I really love this. So I'm going to grab also out of the kit, I have a cut apart. I've actually got 2 cut apart sheets here. I want to use one of the circles, and then I want to use also one of the sentiment strips. So I'm grabbing both of my essentials dies. Actually, all 3 of my essentials dies. I'm going to start off with the circle ones. I'm going to cut this in half. But I also want to use the standard one. And I'm going to do some trimming off of one of them. So I'm just going to run this through as well. Grabbing this one here that says sending hugs and love. I'll put the rest of them over to the side and I'll put them away afterwards. So grab that front back in again. Oh, I really love that, and I love that when you put it down you can really see the detail, but that it's got that movement behind it. It's really cool. And I think, and this is going to match in because my little bits of confetti actually have similar colours to these, so it works really nicely, which is why I'm leaning towards that happy birthday beautiful up in the top. And then I'm going to use the sending hugs and love. Instead of having it as an actual strip, I'm going to cut it down so it's just some like word feedy. Tempted to put the happy birthday beautiful up on a little bit of tape. You know what, let's just do it. But I'm going to use thinner foam tape than I normally would. This is my I think it's only 2mm high foam tape, so I'm just cutting that into little bits. That on the circle, just leaving the backing on just for now, just so I can arrange these. I really love that green. I didn't think I would, but I definitely do. And then we'll grab all the words and do the same thing. So I'll put the tape on, but leave the backing on so we can arrange them. Love, and I deliberately want that to look a little bit haphazard, not quite straight, not quite perfect, kind of just flying down the side. And then I had actually, in my little bag of fun, this is where I play with stuff, and I put it all in here so I don't lose it. I have got a couple of the little birds from the stamp set. I'm just seeing if they're the right colours or if they're the wrong colours. They're just not quite the right colours, so I'm going to really quickly stamp these two out on some blending card. Thankfully I have plenty of it. I'm just going to use Copic friendly ink because I'm going to just really quickly colour these with Copic. I'm going to do one as like a green, like the top here, and then I might do one in sort of like a red-ish colour, or a bright, maybe a brighter pink. Actually, I'm going to do one as the green, and I'm going to do one as like a deeper blue. So these two little ones don't come with dies, so I'm just going to stamp them out and then I'll cut them out by hand. A little bit of fussy cutting never hurt anyone. So let's see what colours we're going to use. This is where I get out my hex chart. So that green, so I'm going to use YG03 and YG01 for the green, and then for the blue, that's actually really close to that blue, okay. I'm going to use VO6 and VO5. So I'm really quickly going to colour those in and I'll be right back. So the very last thing I just need to do really quickly is just obviously put this onto a card base. I'm just grabbing another one of those. You can stick this down using, you could use more foam if you wanted a little bit more dimension again. It would actually look really cool. I'm just going to sit it down flat because I'm really happy with the way that looks. I'm actually going to change it though from where we had it before. We had it as a side folding card. I'm going to change it to a top folding card. I just think that looks a bit cooler or a bit different. So really quickly, just going to put some tape runner all around the outside. The good thing is this base, because it's using this gorgeous cardstock, is really, really strong. So it's allowing me to do that. Put the tape all around the outside. We'll line that up. Stick it down. And there we have it. We have that little gorgeous girl as a shaker, which has actually turned out really well. That's one of the best shakers I've done in a while. It took a lot of work to get there. I'm not going to for 1 second sit here and pretend that that's the perfect way to make a shaker, but it worked and it's cool and I really like it. So I'm very, very, very happy with this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Thank you for sitting with me along the journey. If you did enjoy this one, please give it a big old thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to jump over to the Uniquely Creative blog as well. I'll link it down below. There'll be other projects from me, but other projects from the amazing design team as well. So you'll be able to really see how this stamp set works. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love this one big image, but trust me, there's plenty in here for other things as well. Hope you guys have an absolutely awesome rest of your day, whatever you get up to, and I'll catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!